Hello, hello. Welcome back. Okay, I have a spicy topic today. So I just got done with a call and ooh, I had this client and I just want to preface this with I've been here, so I get it. So this is coming from a place of I understand, I've been here before and things are different for me now. But we were talking and we kind of started talking about asking our partner for help, and I kind of made this comment about how we were talking about dreaming big. What expectations do we have for our lives? What do we want to create? Kind of stuff like that. And some of it was, I want to hire somebody to do laundry for me. I want to hire somebody to come in and clean my windows and clean my house once a week. And then it was followed by some guilt. Well, I'm a stay-at-home mom, I should be able to get it done. Or I shouldn't need to hire this out, or maybe it would be a waste of money. And all of the judgment and the shame started to creep in. And here's the thing. We then got off on a tangent, and what one of them told me was that sometimes her husband will come home and he'll be like, honey, you've been home all day. What have you been doing? Or how come this isn't done? Or how come this isn't done? And I think a lot of times, one, we as women don't realize the mental load that we truly carry. We just think that it's our job. If we're a stay at home mom, if we're home all day, we should be able to get it all done. But tell me how this feels. You have a business to run, you have a house to clean, you have laundry to do, you have bills to pay, you have kids to chase after, you have dinner to cook, you have lunch to make for the kids, you have activities to go to. How are you supposed to get this all done? I just want to tell you that we were not made to do it all on our own. And so then we had this whole conversation, and I know I did an episode on this not too long ago about how we have these unwritten manuals for what a wife should be, what a husband should be, what a marriage should look like, and all of this. And so you have to understand okay, our husband is coming in with the conditioning that he grew up with, right? He saw his parents model a certain behavior that he perceived as normal. You did the same thing. And now, as you start on your personal development journey, your personal growth journey, things look different. You're realizing you don't want to live that life. You want something different. You don't want to remain here. Because I get really fired up when a husband comes home and is like, "What have you done all day, babe? You've been home." I'm like, you have no freaking idea the mental load that we as moms carry. You have no freaking idea. And you also participated in the making of this family. And so we all get to participate in making this household run. And so this whole conversation started off as me and my husband have divided household chores. He has 2 days that he vacuums. I have 2 days that I vacuum. The girls each have a day that they vacuum. So the house gets vacuumed 6 or 7 days a week. And he had a buddy who he used to work with that had a baby, and his wife had a C-section. And so his boss called to see if he could go help him. And so he went back to work for a couple weeks. Well, it was his day to vacuum and do laundry, and he didn't get it done. And so the old version of me, this is when we know healing's really taking place. The old version of me would have been like, well, he just expects me to do it, so I'm going to do it. I probably wouldn't have logically thought of that that way. I logically would have been like, oh, he's gone to work. I need to get this done so that he doesn't have to worry about it. He's out making money, so he shouldn't have to worry about it when he gets home. Whatever that may be, right? And new me is like, hey, babe, did you have a plan for how you were going to get your vacuuming and your laundry done the next 2 days? And he was like, I know, I'm sorry. I just wasn't really all here yesterday. And I said, you can ask for help. That's okay. I said, I'm happy to help you, or delegate it to your girls. We have 2 teenage girls, they're out of school. You can delegate to them too. What do you want to do? And he got up and he put a load of laundry in. And of course, it's going to sit all day while he's at work, but he got up and he put that load of laundry in. And so I want you to think about all of the pieces that you're picking up, all of the pieces that you're carrying for somebody else that are really heavy in your backpack. Let's pretend like you've got a bunch of stones in your backpack and it's really heavy. we get to offload some of those stones. We were not meant to carry a backpack full of stones. And so I easily could have dove in, done the vacuuming, done the laundry. I would have been so happy to help and I wouldn't have been bothered by it. But I think for me and like what we're learning in our relationship right now is the concept of accountability. He has never had to be accountable to his actions, and I've just carried it all. And so this is how he learns to be accountable is, oh, this was yours. How are you going to handle it? Are you going to hand it off to somebody? Do you need me to do it? And and maybe he has his own feelings around it, like, oh, I shouldn't ask my wife, like, this is mine. I can do it all. I can take care of it all, right? But that is not my stone to carry. My stone is not to solve it for him. He is a grown-ass man who can solve his problems. And if he wants my help, then he also gets to learn to ask. And that's a really cool place to be in a relationship because let me tell you how this began. Let's rewind 17 years. I got pregnant at 19 and we got married and we were babies having babies. We did not know what emotional regulation was. I did not know what personal development was, what coaching was, none of it. And all I knew was I hated my life at that time. Like I was so frustrated with it. He was gone hunting every single weekend, got to do what he wanted. I would say yes to everything because I didn't want to be a bitch. I threw myself under the bus. I abandoned myself and just kind of let him do whatever he wanted. And I was just like the yes wife. I wanted to be known as the cool wife. He never asked me to. This was a choice that I made. So that's how we have to like understand that him not helping out in the beginning, I didn't ask for him to help, but I just was doing what I thought I should. And then the resentment grew and he wasn't like asking me to do all of it. It was just sort of assumed by the way that we were both raised. And so anyways, so we go through several years of our marriage and finally I'm like, I am done. I am tired. I'm exhausted. I was working part-time and I was taking care of the kids. I was doing the laundry. I was cleaning the house. I was cooking the meals. I was making sure the bills got paid. I was managing the entire household while working 24 hours a week at the hospital and going to college. And so I was a full-time student and the resentment really, really built up. And so I used to ask in very passive aggressive ways. So it kind of started out of like, you can either be a part of this or I'm out. You can either, like, they were ultimatums. I was trying to control him. I was trying to change his behavior. I very much was. Then it turned into passive aggressive. Like, hey, babe, yeah, I'd really like to see the day that you actually vacuum a house. And then fast forward to like where we are now, and it feels so good. So I'm not going to pretend like the journey is so easy, but I promise you, you can build and create and shift. And part of this started, if you followed my journey, like last year around September, I had a little snapping moment and I was like, I am done. I don't like the way this is going. And I knew at that point in time that if our relationship continued down the same path that it was currently on, in 5 years from now, I would look back and like be pissed as hell. I would not like my life. I would not be happy with where I was at. I would be mad at myself for like staying in it 5 years longer, 10 years longer, whatever it would have looked like. And I was not going to do it. I was not going to do it. And I told him, I like opened up, I spilled it all. I told him, and I don't know what shifted, but he got to work. He got to work. I told him, like, of course, you can't do the work to like keep somebody, right? But having two partners, so what I'm saying is like, you can make it better before you hit the snapping point. And had I realized this sooner and let go of my need to control, I think it would have shifted a lot quicker. But I really like wanted him to come along with me. I was in therapy, I had coaches, I was in courses, I was making myself better, and he was just kind of staying the same. And then he kept telling me like, you've changed, and I would like have a lot of guilt around that, thinking it was a bad thing. And then it shifted into like, thank you, I'm glad I've changed. I don't want to be the same person forever. And the day that I started focusing on my own energy and who I was being as a person and how I was showing up for myself is what shifted everything. And we are both now like in separate therapy and working on our own trauma from our past because, as you know, I've talked about this, the little gangsters inside of us. So pretend like you have all these little child parts of you, child, not children parts, child parts of you running around inside. These are parts of you that may have been wounded in your childhood, that may not have got their needs met, that may have like people pleased, that may have been a little scared. This was how you learned to stay safe in your childhood, whatever the circumstances were. Well, when they follow us into adulthood, they no longer serve us. But now when you bring a relationship together, not only are you bringing you, but you're bringing all of your child parts with you. All of your little gangsters are coming with you. And so when you're reacting and responding to things, sometimes it's these little gangsters that are the ones who are reacting like little toddlers. And this serves no one. And when we start to heal, this was the biggest thing for me when I started to heal my trauma and I was getting less triggered and I was starting to be more of who I wanted to be, and things were starting to take off in my business and really happen, and everything was feeling good and I was feeling good. The energy in the home shifted. As a mom, you are the dominant energy in the home. And so if you are feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, stressed out all the time, what do you think the energy in your home is going to be? And I promise you, your kids are going to feel it. Your husband's going to feel it. He's going to come home from work. He's going to be like overwhelmed and frustrated and not even know why, because he just walked into a wall of energy that we have been putting out all day. And so I just want you to know that because you are a mom, it is not your job to take care of the entire house. It is not your job to cook every meal. It is not your job to do all the laundry. You get to decide how the world works for you. And so if you don't like doing laundry, this is where I get so fired up, because I think that so many women think it is my job. I even had a friend tell me that once, and I was like, ew, no, no, hell no. It is not your job. If you don't like to do the laundry, you can say, hey, babe, is there any way you could do laundry 1 or 2 days a week? If he says no, which he has every right to, right? He can say no. If he says no, great. I'm going to hire a laundry service to come in once a week and get me all caught up on laundry and folded and put away all in one day or 2 days, whatever you need that to look like for you, right? He can put a boundary in place and say, no, I'm not available for that. But you can also put a boundary in place and say, hey, I have a need. I'm going to get it met. Do you want to help me? Or I'm going to hire it out. And I think that sometimes maybe when you hear that, you're like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. I promise you can. There's a part of you in there who can. And I never thought I could do that either. Like, I mean, it's taken us about 17 years to get here, and I want it to happen faster for you. I want you to see that creating a life that you love starts by deciding how you want it to look, setting the intention, and then creating it in a way that feels really good for you. And so if we look back at the first of my journey and how I was trying to ask for help in my passive aggressive ways and just telling him, like, if you keep acting like this, I'm out, and blah, 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 trying to control, it's not going to be very beneficial for everyone. But I want you to really look around at your life right now and be like, if my life were the exact same in 5 years from now, would I enjoy it? Would I want to be living in it? If my daughter came to me and this is how she was feeling, what would I say to her? I want you to say those things to yourself. And so I just want you to take a minute and I want you to think about, what are your needs? And I want you to get real comfortable with having needs. I think a lot of times we think, oh, we can't need too much, we can't want too much, we can't ask for too much because it's just too much. And so we want to erase all of that from our vocabulary and know that it is okay to have needs. And then the second question is, what do I want my life to look like? What do you desire? If no one would be upset, no one would be mad, like it would all work out just as it needed to, what do you desire? And then I want you to ask yourself, how can I get this need met? I'm going to ask my partner to do X. I'm going to hire out X, whatever that may be. And if you have a business, this is where I'm at. If you have a business, what can you get behind making money for? So for me right now, like I can get behind making money to buy more clothes, making money to buy more supplements. I call myself like I'm like a supplement whore. I don't know why that term always comes to my mind, but like I love trying new supplements. And so like what can you get behind to support yourself and let that be your goal in your business and let it be okay. I think a lot of times we judge ourselves of like, oh, well, that's a material thing. I can't want a material thing. Or if I make X amount of money, I need to help my family out this amount and whatever it is. And it's like, I just want to share something that you are freeing up your time and space by getting the support that you need. So then you can expand in your business. And so I just want you to think about that. So I want you to ask yourself, like, what isn't feeling good? If your life was the same in 10 or 15 years from now, would you be happy? What would you say to your daughter or son if they were in the same situation? Can you offer that to yourself? And then I want you to write down like what you truly deeply want your life to look like, the things that you want, the things that you can get behind making money for if you have a business, whatever that is. And I will talk to you next week.